Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive? This one is going to be pretty fascinating, I think.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, this time we're exploring the intersection of technology and spirituality.
Always a fascinating area. Where are we jumping in today?
Well, we're going to be looking at the story of Ravi. He's a software engineer who discovered energy healing,
Interesting.
and it's all detailed in Dhruva Thapa's book, Being Positive is Contagious.
I'm familiar with that one.
Yeah, so, it's kind of an interesting contrast, right?
Yeah.
You've got this very logical mind, someone deep in the world of code, and then suddenly embracing energy work.
Yeah, especially during, such uncertain times like the pandemic.
Exactly, exactly. It's like, his journey from skeptic to believer, his experiences with distant healing, and then he even integrates mindfulness and energy work into his tech career. It's pretty amazing, actually.
It really highlights that tension I think a lot of us feel, that pull between, logic and yearning for something more. Here's this guy immersed in this world of code in ones and zeros, and then suddenly the pandemic hits and everything gets thrown into question.
Totally. It's like the rug was pulled out from under him.
Exactly. And he starts searching for meaning, searching for something beyond the algorithms.
It's almost as if the pandemic became a catalyst for him,
I would agree.
like pushing him to explore these ideas outside of his comfort zone. I mean, think about it. His world was all about certainty, control, precision, all about code. And then suddenly life throws him this massive curveball.
Yeah.
And it leaves him questioning everything.
And that's where his encounter with this spiritual guru becomes so pivotal. So Ravi ends up at this talk. It's about energy and healing. And while he's initially skeptical, of course, the guru says something that really sparks his curiosity.
What was that?
He said, "Science explains the how, but spirituality seeks the why. The universe operates on energies, and healing comes from aligning with these forces." I think that statement really bridges the gap.
Yeah.
It bridges that gap between Ravi's very scientific mind and this whole world of spirituality.
Like a doorway opens, right?
Right.
Suddenly this idea of energy healing isn't so out there anymore. It's less about rejecting science, and it becomes more about understanding this different layer of reality.
Precisely. And it's incredible what Ravi does next. Instead of dismissing this as, just some interesting thing but irrelevant to his life, he takes a leap of faith.
Really? What does he do?
He takes a leave of absence from his job.
No way.
Yeah, from his demanding tech job.
Wow.
And he travels back to his home country to explore energy healing.
That is a bold move. I mean,
Mhm.
talk about a shift in priorities. It makes you wonder what must have been going through his mind to leave behind everything familiar and just dive headfirst into the unknown.
I know, it's really something. I think it speaks volumes about, the impact of the pandemic and his search for meaning.
Absolutely. So what happens when he gets there? How does he actually start exploring energy healing?
He starts by learning Reiki.
Okay.
It's a form of energy healing that focuses on tapping into this universal energy for healing. And this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
He has this profound experience with distant healing that really challenges his whole worldview.
Distant healing. I've heard of it, but I don't know a lot about it. What is that even, what happened?
Okay, so picture this. Ravi's friend Arjun. He's miles away, right?
Okay.
He's struggling with this severe anxiety. Ravi, who has learned some of these basic Reiki techniques, decides to try something. He focuses his intention on sending healing energy to Arjun. He's visualizing him surrounded by this calming light.
That's powerful.
Yeah, and get this, a week later, Arjun contacts Ravi. He's completely bewildered. He describes experiencing this profound sense of relief from his anxiety.
Wow.
And it started the day Ravi did the distant
Are
healing.
you serious?
Yeah. It was a total turning point for Ravi. This experience just shook his skepticism to the core. And he was finally open to the possibility that there's so much more to the world than what we can see or even what we think we know.
I can only imagine. That must have been just a completely mind-blowing experience for him. It's like suddenly the laws of physics that he's relied on, they're not telling the whole story.
Right.
And if healing can happen across distances, I mean, what does that say about our understanding of energy, of intention, of the power of the mind?
It raises some really big questions. It suggests that there's this level of interconnectedness that I think most of us aren't even aware of. And for Ravi, This experience becomes a catalyst for this huge shift in his perspective. He
Mhm.
starts to embrace uncertainty, and he begins to see the universe as this complex, interconnected system where energy and intention play a significant role.
So he goes from this very code-driven logical engineer to someone who's open to these unseen forces at play in the universe. I mean, that's quite a transformation. But how does this new understanding actually impact his life? Does he completely abandon his tech career and become like a full-time energy healer?
Well, that's where Ravi's story takes another interesting turn. He doesn't reject his old life.
Okay.
Instead, he brings this newfound awareness back to his tech world.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he returns to his job, but now he's equipped with this deeper understanding of energy, of mindfulness, of interconnectedness.
Like he upgraded his operating system or something,
Exactly.
bringing this whole new dimension to his work. So how does he actually integrate these seemingly completely different worlds, the world of technology and the world of energy healing?
It's fascinating. He starts by incorporating mindfulness into his own daily routine.
Okay.
He begins practicing meditation, and he finds that it just dramatically improves his focus, his creativity, even his ability to problem solve at work.
That's incredible. It
Yeah.
really shows that mindfulness isn't just some esoteric practice for spiritual seekers.
Yeah.
It can actually be a powerful tool for anyone, especially those in high pressure, mentally demanding fields like software engineering.
You got it. And Ravi doesn't keep this to himself. He sees how this could potentially benefit his colleagues who are likely experiencing the same stresses, the same challenges. He starts introducing these mindfulness sessions at work. He blends Reiki principles with these practical techniques for relaxation and stress reduction.
So he's essentially bridging the gap between these two worlds. He's showing how energy work and mindfulness can have this tangible impact in a tech environment.
Yeah.
Did his colleagues embrace this? Were they open to these ideas?
It's interesting. At first, there's probably some skepticism,
Yeah.
maybe even some amusement. But what's really striking is that people start seeing the benefits.
Yeah.
Ravi's colleagues who are just immersed in this fast-paced, this high-pressure tech world, they begin to notice a difference. They start seeking him out, not just for technical advice, but for help with stress management, for finding balance, for even, boosting your creativity.
So Robbie's transformation has this ripple effect. He's not just changing his own life, he's influencing the lives of those around him.
Yeah.
It's a real-life example of how being positive is contagious, like the book suggests.
Exactly. And what's so compelling is that it all started with one man's willingness to step outside his comfort zone, to explore the unknown and embrace this whole new way of seeing the world.
I mean, it is inspiring, right, to see how Robbie took these concepts that might seem so out there to some and actually found ways to integrate them into his everyday life, his
Yeah.
work. But here's the question. What can we take away from this? Like, do we need to become Reiki masters or quit our jobs to experience those same benefits?
Not at all. I really think Ravi's story offers some practical takeaways for all of us, regardless of our backgrounds or beliefs. And it all starts with just being open to new ideas.
Right, like that initial spark of curiosity that Ravi felt when he first heard the guru speak. I mean, he could have just easily dismissed it all
Absolutely.
as nonsense, but instead, he allowed himself to be curious, to explore something new, something outside of his usual realm of logic and code.
And that's a powerful lesson in itself. I really believe that curiosity is the key that unlocks so many doors. It allows us to step outside of our comfort zones, challenge our assumptions and potentially discover these whole new worlds of understanding.
So if someone listening is curious about energy healing, but maybe a little skeptical like Ravi was, like, where do they even begin?
Well, we can start with this concept of distant healing. I know it can seem a bit abstract, maybe even unbelievable at first, but think about it this way. Ravi focused his intention on sending this positive energy to his friend, right?
Right.
And his friend actually felt it. He felt a shift, a sense of relief.
So it's like focusing this positive energy and intention
Yeah.
towards someone,
Yeah.
even if they're miles away,
Even if they're miles away.
with the aim of supporting their well-being.
Exactly. And while there's, not a ton of scientific research on distant healing just yet, there's a growing interest in the power of intention and this idea of the interconnectedness of everything. Even if we don't fully understand how it all works, I think there's something to be said for the potential of of positive energy and focused intention.
It's like sending good vibes to someone who needs them.
Yeah.
And even if we can't, scientifically prove it, I think we've all felt that, right? Like how a positive thought or just a kind gesture can have this ripple effect, creating this more positive atmosphere.
Absolutely. And speaking of positive effects, another key takeaway from Ravi's story is this. It's the power of mindfulness. He found that incorporating even these short mindfulness practices into his day just had this huge impact on his well-being and on his work performance.
So we don't have to become these, meditation gurus to actually reap the benefits. What kind of simple mindfulness practices can people try? I imagine our listener is probably wondering, how do I fit this into my already busy day?
Right. Well, something as simple as taking a few conscious breaths, before starting a task, it can really help just clear the mind and improve focus.
Mm.
Or even setting aside just 5 minutes to simply observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment.
Mhm.
That can bring such a sense of calm and awareness.
So mindfulness is about being present. It's about being present in the moment, tuning into our thoughts and our feelings without getting swept away by them.
Exactly. And the beauty of it is that you can practice mindfulness anywhere, at any time, while you're walking, while you're washing dishes, even waiting in line at the grocery store.
It's like hitting the pause button on autopilot
Yeah.
and just becoming more aware of what's happening within us, what's happening around us. It's a way to just create space in our busy minds
Yes.
and connects with this sense of inner peace.
And this inner peace can then just ripple outward, influencing how we interact with others, our work, and even just our overall outlook on life.
It's fascinating how Ravi's story connects these different concepts.
Mhm.
Energy healing, mindfulness, intention. It's like they're all these threads in the same tapestry, woven together to create this more holistic approach to well-being.
And it's important to remember that transformation, whether it's, personal or professional, it doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
Ravi's journey was gradual.
Mhm.
He had to be patient with himself. He had to be open to new experiences and be willing to trust the process.
Like tending a garden.
Yes.
You plant the seeds, you nurture them, and then you allow them to grow at their own pace. There's no instant gratification.
Mhm.
But with this consistent effort, we can really cultivate positive change in our lives.
Precisely. And sometimes the most powerful changes actually start with just the smallest steps.
Mm.
Just like Ravi's willingness to explore energy healing led to this ripple effect, an effect that impacted his friends, his colleagues, and even us, learning about his story.
So if we connect this back to the book's title, Being Positive is Contagious, we can see how one person's journey, one person's positive shift can have this really profound impact on the world around them. I mean, it's encouraging, isn't it? To know that we all have the potential to be that positive force in the world.
It really is, and it reminds us that even in a world that can feel so overwhelming at times, there's always hope. There's always this possibility for positive change, both within ourselves and in the world around us.
Yeah, it's really powerful to think about, even in a world that's so dominated by technology, there's still that room for a deeper connection
Mm.
to ourselves, to each other,
Yeah.
and maybe even to something bigger than ourselves.
Ravi's story is such a great example of that. He didn't reject technology. He found a way to integrate it with this newfound understanding of energy and mindfulness. It's almost like he found that missing piece of code,
Yeah.
the one that bridges that digital world with the human experience.
Yeah. That's such an important message for everyone, especially now. Like,
Yeah.
we don't have to choose, right, between technology and spirituality, between logic and intuition. It's about finding that balance, that integration that allows us to just live, more fully, more meaningfully.
Exactly. Ravi's journey from code to connection, it shows us that healing and meaning can be found in the most unexpected places. It's all about being open to exploring, to questioning, to pushing beyond the boundaries of what we think we know.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Ravi's story,
Yeah.
what's resonating most with you? What's sticking with you from all of this?
That's a good question. I think what's so powerful is that Ravi's story, it isn't just this feel-good anecdote, right? It actually offers some tangible takeaways. These practical tools that we can all use to navigate the complexities of our own lives.
Yeah, like embracing that curiosity,
Hmm.
exploring these mindfulness practices, maybe even experimenting with the concept of distant healing.
All right.
It's about taking these ideas and seeing how they might fit into our own unique lives and experiences.
Exactly. And I think that's really what Dhruva Thapa was getting at with the book title, Being Positive is Contagious. It's about recognizing that our individual journeys, our shifts in perspective, our efforts to cultivate positivity, they all have this ripple effect that impact not just us, but the people around us
Yeah.
and the world that we live in.
So as we end this deep dive, I want to leave you with this question. If if being positive is truly contagious, what small step can you take today to spread that positivity?
Hmm. Maybe it's practicing a few minutes of mindfulness, or reaching out to a friend who needs support, or maybe it's simply choosing to focus on the good. Even amidst the challenges, every act of kindness, every positive thought, every effort to connect, it all matters.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope Ravi's story has inspired you to explore your own path to connection and healing.
Until next time, everyone, remember to stay curious, stay open, and keep believing in the power of positive energy.